the Seattle Seahawks just made a massive trade at right before the trade deadline. The trade deadline, of course, is tomorrow. So here it is. Leonard Williams headed to Seattle in exchange for a second rounder for next year and a fifth rounder for 2025. What are my thoughts on this trade? Now, look, I do not like to be the guy who is always criticizing trades. I don't like to be that guy. I don't like to be the guy who has to not be always positive. I really try my best to be really very positive, and obviously on Sundays sometimes that doesn't happen. I do tend to overreact on Sundays. Again, with the Mariners as well, I sometimes overreact to bad losses, but this is what I'm saying. Somebody has to be the guy who puts a pause on the Leonard Williams hype train, because Leonard Williams is fine. Like, we needed to go out and make a trade, and I'm happy that we did. So people will say, "Oh, well, are you mad that we didn't get anybody?" No, I'm happy that we made a trade. I really honestly do think that we are a better team after making this trade. I think that we have improved. Leonard Williams will do a very good job filling in to the gap where Uchenna Nwosu was, but obviously he's out for the season, so we're not getting him back. Frank Clark was pretty much a non-factor. Obviously, it was his first game, but I don't see Frank Clark really doing anything with us. So I think that Leonard Williams, he's gonna start. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be good. He'll be good. But there's a lot of Giants fans right now who are celebrating on Twitter, talking about how they just fleeced the Seahawks. And there is some validity to that claim. The Giants are paying his $10 million salary, so that's worth saying something. They're going to pay the rest of his contract, so we basically get him for free as far as money goes. But we don't get him for next year. He's a free agent, right? And so we get him for 9 games. 9 games, and then, we'll see how far we get in the playoffs. We gave up a second-round pick. That's significant, right? Second-round picks are significant, especially when you see what we've done with second-round picks. I mean, this is where second round is where you get guys who are, like, starters. Now, our last couple second-round picks haven't been great. D. Eskridge in the second round, didn't work out. Zach Charbonnet, also in the second round, didn't really work out. So, you could say, well, the Seahawks haven't had great luck in the second round. That is kind of true. But at the same time, that is draft capital. That's significant draft capital. And giving up a second rounder for a guy who is going to play pretty much, he's going to probably play, when you count the playoffs, if he stays healthy, he's probably going to play 10 or 11 games for you. Maximum 13, and that's if you make the Super Bowl. He would play 13 max. And so if you're only getting a guy for 13 games for a second round pick, that better be a really good 13. And I'm not saying Leonard Williams is going to be bad. So again, don't come after me for this. I think this is a fair take. I really do. I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I'm saying that he has been a good player. He's had 2 great seasons. Okay, but those great seasons was in 2016 and 2020. He has been a Pro Bowler 1 time in his 8-year career. This is his 9th season. He's been a Pro Bowler once. He has had more than 5 sacks twice, right? He had 7 in, I believe, 2016 or 2017. And then he had 11.5 sacks in 2020. That year, 2020, was an outlier season. That's not the norm for Leonard Williams. So he's not going to come in here and just start racking up sacks. I know that's what some people are thinking, that he's just going to come in here and just get a bunch of sacks, and our defensive line is going to go from being not very good to being amazing, right? He'll be helpful against the run, which we already stopped the run pretty well, but he'll be even better for that. And he is helpful for the pass rush, but he does not make our pass rush elite or even great. Our pass rush is still going to be an average. Our pass rush is going to go from being slightly below average to average, which is, again, we needed to improve. But I'm just saying, He has 1.5 sacks this year. So how many can we expect him to get? Like, if he gets 3 sacks as a Seahawk, I'd be thrilled. But he had 3 sacks last year. He hasn't had more than 5 sacks in the past 3 years. And he's getting older. He's 29 on an expiring contract. So all I'm saying is he has been good before. He has been great. He's had 2 really good seasons. 2 out of 8 though, right? And the other 6, he's been fine. Like, he just played 2 really, really good games. Give him credit. He had 6 QB pressures against Zach Wilson. That was the best game of his season so far. He had a good game against the Commanders as well. But you have to take that with a grain of salt, because the Commanders have allowed 70 sacks this season. They are the worst offensive line possibly in NFL history. And the Giants aren't close behind. The Giants have the 2nd worst offensive line this season. They've allowed over 50 sacks. So he has his 2 best games of the season came against the 2 worst offensive lines in the league back-to-back weeks. That helped his trade value, but again, it's like, take it with a grain of salt. He's not going to play the way he did against the Commanders and the Jets against the 49ers. Like, that's just not going to happen. I don't expect him to go up and sack Brock Purdy. I don't expect him to be sacking Dak Prescott or sacking Jalen Hurts. I do think this is going to be really nice for when we play the Commanders in 2 weeks. I think that he might have another... He already played the Commanders once this season, and now he's going to get round 2 weeks from now when the Seahawks play the Commanders. That game, obviously, any given Sunday, anything can happen. The Commanders are a fierce team. They give a lot of fight. They're still in the hunt for the playoffs. Having Leonard Williams in that game is going to be huge, I think. And their offensive line's terrible, right? I think he'll be great when we play the Rams in the rematch against the Rams. The Rams' average offensive line, I think Leonard Williams can do some good things against the Rams. He'll be really solid to have when we play the Steelers. When we play the Titans. Like, I'm not saying he's bad, but I don't think you can expect him to be the game changer. Whereas before, I didn't think we would beat the Eagles, and I didn't think that we would beat the 49ers both games. I still don't think that. And before, I didn't think we would win more than 1 game in the playoffs. I still don't think that. Is Leonard Williams is he worth a win? He's worth me being more confident about wins, but we're an 11-6 team without him, in my opinion, and I think we're still an 11-6 team with him. Which game does he flip? You know what I mean? Like, maybe because I think we lose 4 more games. I have it being the Ravens, Eagles, one of the games against the Niners, and then the Rams. So maybe he flips that Rams game into a win. The Steelers are also tough. I mean, I really don't think that he really changes our season that much. Like when the Mariners acquired Castillo at the deadline, it was like, yeah, like this guy's going to win. He's going to give you like 5 or 6 wins that whoever else would have been pitching wouldn't have gotten you. And obviously we gave up a lot for Luis Castillo, and I was critical of that trade as well. I still am sometimes. When the Seahawks traded for Carlos Dunlap in 2020, it was like, yeah, like this guy is going to be great. He's going to immediately make the defense better. He's going to add wins. I don't see where Leonard Williams maybe adds a wins. I guess you can say we have a better chance of beating the Rams with him. That's true. But also, the Rams, Matthew Stafford might not play, so that I might actually have to switch that to a win anyways. I don't see him, like, I don't think this puts us into the tier with the Eagles and 49ers, having Leonard Williams versus not having him. And ultimately, that's what gets you to the conference championship and or the Super Bowl. Because I think we're the third best team in the NFC, maybe the fourth. I think us, the Lions and Cowboys are the second tier, but I really still think Eagles and Niners. And I know we have a better record than the Niners. I still think that the Eagles and the Niners are the two best teams in the NFC, and I don't think we are in the same tier as those two teams. I just don't. And I don't think Leonard Williams gets us into that tier. So that's why I'm saying, again, I'm not saying we shouldn't have made the trade. I'm not saying that I would rather not have Leonard Williams than rather have him, because I would rather have him. What I am saying is there's a lot of people right now who are jumping up and down, jumping for joy, saying, oh my gosh, Leonard Williams, the Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl. This thing's a wrap. What a great trade. John Schneider's a genius. Pete Carroll, what a legend. Like, I'm happy for you. And I wish I could have that same optimism. But when it's all said and done, if we win one game in the playoffs this year, and Leonard Williams ends up, getting maybe 2 sacks and, plays six or 7 games, maybe he misses a couple with an injury, and he plays fine. But if Leonard Williams plays fine and we lose in the divisional round to the Eagles, which is, that's currently what I see happening. If that does happen, I think you're gonna wish that we had that second round pick. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think you're gonna wish. I think that now if Leonard, I hope you prove me wrong. I hope you prove me wrong. If we go in to because I think without Leonard Williams, we're a team capable of winning a playoff game, right? Depending on who it's against. Like, obviously, if we get the 7th seed and you have to go to Philadelphia or to San Francisco in the first round, you're losing, right? But I think if you're the 6th seed, you might have to go to Detroit. If you're the 5th seed, you're probably looking at going to New Orleans, going to Atlanta. You can win those. Or if you win the division, which we're still, we're in the lead right now. If you win the division, you get the 3 or the 2. I think we can beat Dallas at home. I think we could beat the Rams at home, the Vikings, whoever gets like the last wild card. So I think without Leonard Williams, we're a team that's gonna win a playoff game. And I think that with Leonard Williams, we're still a team that's gonna win a playoff game. So that's my take. Again, I'm not doing this because I like to be like Mr. Pessimist, Mr. Down and Out. And I'm not doing this because I'm not trying to say I wish we didn't make a trade. I'm happy we made a trade. But I'm just throwing caution to the wind. And I'm just saying, unless Leonard Williams comes out here and changes the game in a way that we're clearly better with him than without him, not just for a couple games, but for the whole season, then I think you're going to have to take a look at the end of the season and say to yourself, was it worth it? But with that being said, I hope that maybe we can get another trade. Maybe like a trade up. I don't know. I don't know what else we would do, but I'd be interested in making another trade, making a couple more depth moves, maybe bringing in an offensive lineman. And we'll see what happens. But let's go Seahawks. You're in first place. Let's just enjoy it.